Okay, looks like I have excellent connection. Audio's good. Just checking a couple things, making sure levels are correct. I'm going to bring in our guest. Before that, I'm Big D. Welcome to my show, The Boiling Point. Please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification for all. All right, here we go. All right, everybody.
Hey, everybody.
John, a.k.a. Propane.
How you doing, everyone? Got some sunshine today. We should be happy.
Yeah, I do too. I can't believe it. I was shocked.
Yeah, we only have like 4 days of sunshine in January, I believe.
All right, so what we're going to be talking about today is a topic of, are you a slave? More or less. I'm going to walk you through the treasurydirect.gov website so you can actually, if you want to go forward with it, but some say that it might not be let's say, legal. They might bring charges against you, but this is something that you would have to decide on your own if you want to go forward. But showing you some differences in how the website has changed since the last time I did this. So if you're following along from a previous show I had, that doesn't work too well. So I'm going to go over a few also, a little bit of news before we get into this. And also something that I posted on social media. Sometimes I like to get people going. I'll start with that one first. This is what I posted. I mean, it wasn't anything that I'm saying people are dumb as in, not smart dumb. But you'll see what I mean by the end of this. So I was told from someone that I went to school with. When I meet someone, I consider them stupid until they prove me wrong. And I didn't really think they would take it to the crazy extreme, but this person says, I think that's harsh. I mean, how can you consider someone stupid when you first meet them until they prove you wrong? You're being judgmental without any reason to be judgmental. First impressions are everything to me, but I would never call someone stupid or think they're stupid. I guess, my apologies. I guess different strokes for different folks. That is all. Please carry on with your day. So I tried to make sense of this for this person. I said, I have a reason. It's been proven to me. You have to be in my shoes to understand. I'm not going into it, but it is how it is. I see proof more dumb than smart. When the government says take your boosters and love it, and they just and they more or less just line up for their booster. It's just crazy how this all worked out for them, not me. And if you did take your booster, I'm sorry to hear. But then they, after, they go and get their booster, they make sure that they post it on social media. And to me, that's proven that they're dumb. And not dumb as in not smart, not being able to do a great job at what they do. It's more like brainwashed and just follow the leader. If your friends are doing it, you're going to do it. And then it's almost like people tell you to go eat bug burgers and they say it tastes great. Well, that's a little more brainwashing, I'm thinking. Because back in the day, I tried not bug burgers, but I tried the vegan type stuff, and soy is in it. Soy is one of the main problems of what's causing disease in this country. That's my opinion. Take it what it is. I'm not a researcher, scientist, but my own research shows me this. They, the government says we need more vaccines. People line up. Proof is in our faces. Nothing to do with being mean. I'm not being mean. I'm just trying to be me, I guess. And why is everything being made out of soy? That's the thing that's that everybody should be aware of. When it says vegetable oil, there's soy in it. When it says canola oil, it's soy. The oils are, my opinion, the death of Americans. Would you find some of these in other countries? I highly doubt it. It's definitely the death of everyone. Now, while we die a slow death and making men into women, so we slow the baby factory, because that's another thing that soy does. It reduces the testosterone in men and makes them more not men. What a man is meant to be: aggressive, have muscle, prove that they can take care of their families. When someone tries to do something against their family, a kid or whatever, you're going to stand up for them. What are you going to do if you're acting like a girl? I have a neighbor like that. So let's go into, I don't know if you want to respond to that, John.
Well, I really agree with you, and like we were talking backstage there for a while, it takes a lot of effort, and you have to do some research. But to combat all that, all the bad ingredients and the reasons why, and is it money that they're doing it? Is it, depopulation, like you're saying, keeping us sick? Uh, you know, it's great if you live near a farm or something, or you have a farm, or you can buy some good vegetables and meat locally and stuff. I think most of us can't, and especially if you're in the cities, where the major populations are. Um, you're pretty much locked into the local store, you know. But if they are actually trying to, whoever they are, do that and knowingly making people sick or ill or going to be hard to combat. I can imagine, the effort that it's going to take. Not only us, we can't wait for someone else to do it for us. We're going to have to, be vigilant and research and know that maybe that oil in that food isn't what they say it is, or maybe it's not even real meat, or maybe you are eating bugs
Yeah.
and don't even know it. I mean, I always had the when you talk about like soy burgers and stuff. My opinion, if I want a burger, I want a beef. That's what I want. If I want a hot dog, I'm gonna have a hot dog. You know what I mean? I don't want something that's another something else. It just doesn't make sense. What you know what I mean? I'm having a hamburger, but it's made out of vegetables. Well, you're not eating a hamburger then, So I don't see the point of, and that stuff's expensive too.
Exactly. Yeah.
And at least why are you lying to yourself? You're not having a hamburger. You're not having a real burger. You're having something else that just happens to look like a burger.
Yeah. They
You know
think,
what I mean?
oh, I'm doing something for myself.
Right. And I kind of question some of the organic stuff too. I mean, I had my family members. Oh, I'm buying organic and this, that. I'm saying to myself, are you sure, or you're just paying more for something that
Really?
Right. How can the cheap stuff or the bad stuff have all these extra chemicals in it and they cost less? Wouldn't the extra chemicals make
That work.
that product more money?
Yeah,
You know what I'm trying to say? And then they're selling you the organic ones for more money. I mean, isn't that the organic what we used to eat years ago?
supposedly.
Right. So, I don't know. It's crazy.
So Linda says, soy turns boys into sissies. And it starts them starts the boys off young. You know, they jump right on that. I mean, look at the ingredients in certain cookies.
Right.
It's crazy. You don't even know how to pronounce half the stuff. What happened to sugar, flour, and some chocolate? What happened to that? And now it's got all these preservatives, and they say it's a preservative. And is it really a preservative? Is it does it need to be preserved for 6 years?
Well, I have a case of 20-year-old Twinkies I could send to your followers. We'll see if it's real.
All right.
They say Twinkies last forever. Maybe they do.
All right, let's check this out. Now, this is treasurydirect.gov. I'm going to start with this, and then I'll go into the reason why I'm showing this. And beware, there has been some discussion that this is not something you want to put your information in, that you could be looking at issues if you do. But if you choose to, that's my disclaimer. Go on your own to choose to do this or not. All right, here we go. I'm going to bring it up. I'm going to share the screen. So as you see, I have treasurydirect.gov. Let's see. You go to savings bond calculator. Scroll down to inventory of bonds. And you're going to want to look at this website and read everything you can, because there's a lot of details here as well. I'm not going to go over all of it because it's going to be a kind of a long show already. Now you go down to calculator. And find the value of paper bonds, past and future. Now this is a bunch more details that you really should read. Not sure what data the calculator is giving you. Again, read all of it. I mean, it's very informative. And let me make sure I'm going through this properly. I missed it. Hang on. Savings bond homepage, calculator homepage. And I believe this is where you scroll down to the bottom and you get started. Now, these are your calculations where you can put in value as of date. And then you can click on update. But what you're looking for to get your calculations, or at least how I did mine, I did it for 12 of 2023. So I wanted to see what it was for that value. And then I went to e-bonds. And then to calculate, or the denominations, which I picked was 25. And obviously I'm not going to put in my serial number or anything like that, but that serial number is on your certificate, your birth certificate. I believe it's the lower left corner, and then your social security card blood number is on the back, not the one that you would give for if you're going to be purchasing a car or getting credit for something, not that number. And then the issue date, which is obviously your birthday. So that's one thing that you might want to check out. Again, go in with your own idea of, I don't know why this couldn't be legal, but some state that it might not be something you want to do. Again, it's just my disclosure. We'll get right into my comments. Now, these are how I perceived the information, and I wrote my own script. A lot of times I have people that help me out. This show was all on my own, so blame me, not the people that helped the show. So again, on the back of your social security card, there are numbers in usually red, unless it's all faded, and there could be like a very light tinted red, at least some of that I have seen. Now these numbers are serial numbers of your stock. If you're wealthy, you are preferred stock. If you are poor, you are common stock. Your body is bought and sold through the use of your birth certificate. That's why when you are born, you have to have a birth certificate. When your mother signed the birth certificate, it doesn't say informant. It says informant. It doesn't say mother. Most of these things I'm going to tell you, I did check on my own birth certificate versus another individual's, and one out of the two followed what this says. It might be depending on the state, so your state might be different, or even county. The counties might be different as well. Now, does this sound like slavery? Well, keep hanging on. There's more to come. And I bet you didn't even realize it. At least you didn't know when you were born, but maybe you have had a child and maybe you didn't realize it. Now, after the change of the century, they wanted to expand and see what they could do with the corporation. The American corporation went to Germany to take over. It was a hostile corporation takeover. We know it as World War I. So the American corporation took over to overthrow the corporate order in Germany. Took a lot of money. Many people died, but the American corporation felt it was needed to be done to expand. The American corporation went broke doing this. While doing it, the bankers pulled their money out in 1929. We had what everyone knows as the stock market crash of 1929. The British corporation called the American corporation and went to the bank and asked for money, and the bank said, what do you have as collateral? So they gave the bank stock in the American corporation. So the stock is your body. So they gave your body to the banks in Switzerland. You became stock for the American corporation because you and your money are makers for the corporation. The Bank of Switzerland agreed to give American corporation the money they needed. But Switzerland Bank was going to control the money of your body by setting up an agency that will keep track of and control the money. The agency is what we know it as the Federal Reserve. They also set up a collection agency to make sure that stock pays us. The agency is what we know it as, the IRS. Created in 1913 to collect on the stock and taxes against the salaries and wages, interest, dividends, rents, royalties, pensions, annuities, income from estates or trusts, and I'm sure a lot more. Some say that's why American citizens are slaves. You be the judge. There are two kinds of law on earth. One is called civil law. The other is called law of equality. One is called, which is a law of the land, law of water. Civil law is law of the land. Admiralty is law of water, which is a bank law. Law of water, because you came out of your mother's water, you are a maritime admiralty product. This is why the ship is sitting in its berth. It's tied to the dock, and the captain has to give a certificate of manifest to the port authority. All this to allow money to change hands, not benefiting you, even though you are the cause of these transactions as you are the stock. So the certificate of manifest is your birth certificate, which has to be signed by the dock. That's where the ship is tied to the dock. You came down your mother's water, her birth canal. You are an admiralty product. Therefore, your birth certificate is signed by your mother, and where she signs the birth certificate, it does not say mother, it says informant. Your mother was informing the bank that she has produced another product to be bought and sold as a commodity. England, the British Crown, through international banking, owns your physical body. That's the law. Now, remember in the beginning of the show, I talked about the red numbers on the back of your Social Security card. That's considered the blood number. The blood number designates your body. It's the serial number of your stock. Everything connected to the Corporation of America, your name is in all caps. Your Social Security card, driver's license, passport, insurance cards. Only your name is all caps, can be dealt with by the banks and governments. The government doesn't have over you if your name is isn't upper cased. If it's lower cased, nothing they can do for you. If you are working in California making money, you are referred to as a franchisee. A franchisee of a foreign corporation. The 1849 Constitution of California says no California citizen will ever pay taxes in California state ever. There will never be a state tax in California. But if you say you are a United States citizen, you are saying you work for a privately owned corporation called the United States. Therefore, you are a franchisee of a foreign corporation. Therefore, you have to pay the California franchisee tax. There is no state tax to pay for California franchisee tax board. The franchisee tax board, that's where you pay it. You work for the Queen of England. I don't know. What do you think about that? Could it be true?
You know what I find amazing? Just the fact that somewhere or someone that there's a price on life. That in itself, that someone could assign a certain price to something living. Could you imagine that?
Yeah.
Just it's just right there blows you away. You know that someone's valuing your life at a certain thing. Now, you know, obviously we're not free if you think of it in that sense.
Yeah, we lost our sovereignty in 1871.
I mean, you can't do anything. You know, you can't get married. You can't go fishing. You can't drive a car. You can't, without
Yep, nothing
some
you can.
kind of fee or permit or whatever. It's just amazing. If you look at it from that perspective, are you really free? Wow.
I say no.
It's because it's the truth. You're not free. You're not free. Now, did you hear anything uh, concerning the birth certificates tied, with the Vatican?
Not with the Vatican, no.
Okay. I mean, there is a train of thought, or you know, I don't know if you want to call them stories or theories of that they control that birth certificate after death.
Really?
That's something that people should look into. It's pretty interesting if you look into it. I don't want to go into it too heavily. I mean, but it makes you want to think, like, now I don't know if that just concerns Christians, Catholics, or if it's all people. Uh, it might be just pertaining to that religion. Uh,
Hmm.
you see how you're making the connection with the Queen or England,
Correct. Yeah.
same connection or similar connection with the Vatican. It's something to think about and to look into, and you can look into it. There's stuff out there.
Yeah. Definitely.
Vatican and the birth certificate. You'll be surprised what you find.
They said that we're independent. Yeah. I'm thinking that went away with the very beginning. They can call us independent, but
Right.
especially with the Organic Act of 1871, when that happened, they changed the Constitution. Now, was that change with Congress involved? I don't think so. I think they found a way to make it happen.
Right.
And for the Federal Reserve to be um, implemented, they had many. I don't know if they were billionaires back then, but I'm pretty sure they were billionaires that were on the Titanic.
That's
That
correct.
that they say is that were fighting against, and they were not going to change their mind to have a Federal Reserve agency, which is not part of the United States government, and neither is the IRS, from my research at least. Unless someone proves me wrong, I gotta believe that, which I haven't heard anybody to come on the show or make a comment in one of my shows that when I've stated this, that I am incorrect and this is where you need to go to find it. And I've not had anything like that.
Right. That I've listened to them stories too, and it's pretty amazing though that the people that were inviting these three gentlemen that were going to fight the central banking system in the United States never got on that boat.
Yep.
That's why, if you're inviting someone to take this journey to the new world there in this beautiful boat, and on the last minute you don't go yourself, sounds a little fishy to me. I don't know. Something to
Also,
consider.
yeah, I definitely agree. And why
And
did the captain? He was told many times to slow down, going too fast. You're going into an iceberg um, area. There's not just one iceberg to worry about. There's many, and he's going as fast as he can. Did they get to him and tell him that either do this or we know about this? Did they make it to the point where he was going to sink that ship on purpose? You know,
Right. And the question is, was it an iceberg too?
Yep.
There's theories out there that it was a submarine that sank that boat.
Yep.
There's theories of that, which makes more sense than trying to run into an iceberg, right?
Yes, they're very true. And an
Yeah.
iceberg to take out open up that like a tin can.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't know if you've seen those photos of when they went down again only a short time ago. And they saw it wasn't a jagged edge or a jagged area where the metal was pushed in. They were seeing an area of metal that was pushed out, like an inside explosion that created the hole
Right.
in the Titanic.
Right.
And nobody's
I mean,
even talking about it. You know, they put those pictures out and nobody's talking about it.
well, that's possible too. Or what they're seeing down there could have happened. Explosions because of what happened. You know what I mean? Like engine rooms, fuel. Maybe that pushed out could
True.
not have anything to do with the actual sinking, just something that happened to do with whatever actually happened. Or who knows? I mean, how hard would it have been to have a bomb inside there? And back then, TNT, whatever they had back in them days, that could happen.
Yep. And when I talked about the theory of a submarine, everybody's like, they didn't have subs back then. I'm like, they had subs in the 1800s.
Right.
They were very limited at what they could do and how deep they can go. But
You had a submarine in the Civil War.
Yeah.
Look it up. So, yeah, that's interesting. And then the following year, in what you say, 1913, the sinking was what, 12, right?
Yep.
1912. And within the next year, the Fed and the Federal Reserve came in. Very interesting.
Look at the things that are controlled that we don't even know.
Right.
You know, not long ago, what 2-3 years ago, when I first got into this and going pretty deep on this, on many different things, find out that the 10 mile by 10 mile piece of property that's called DC is not even owned by the United States.
What, the District of Confusion?
What's that?
The District of Confusion?
Yeah. How is it possible that no one knows this, you know? I mean, it's talk now than it was 3 years ago, but when you can prove it all the way back to when it originated, that's why everything is there. The White House, the Congress, the Senate.
Well, just like London, everyone thinks when you hear the word London or London City, the reference to London City is actually like 10 square blocks of where the financials. That's what's really referred to London City. It's a city within the city. I'm not even sure if it might be separate, just like the Vatican is from Italy.
Got it.
If you look it up, that's where all the finances are in that, whatever it is, 10 block radius. That's what we're referring to when they say the city of London. They're not talking about London in general when they're talking finances. That's what they're referencing. A lot of people don't know that.
Nice. Yeah, it's every time we turn around, there's another piece of our history that we're getting details of.
It's a giant puzzle. Giant puzzle.
So I'd like to give a little bit more world news, so to speak. It's okay. Here we go. Now, the FBI and DOJ were made aware of election fraud being committed in Detroit, Michigan during the 2020 election and decided to cover it up. according to documents from the FOIA request. That's kind of interesting. Saudi Arabia denies claims that it has joined the BRICS nation. I think they're holding back on coming forward with that because of what they've already done, which is help the de-dollarization of the U.S. dollar. When they said we're no longer accepting the U.S. dollar for purchase of our oil. And that killed the agreement that we had, the United States had with Saudi Arabia, and we were going to protect them if they make sure everybody pays with the U.S. dollar. That keeps our economy strong, the inflation low, blah, blah, blah. But a lot of people already know this, so I don't know why they're not going forward with it, because I've heard this for a little while now that they have joined the BRICS nation. Now, New York City is set to distribute $53 million worth of prepaid debit cards to illegal immigrants at the cost of taxpayers. Don't take care of your own, but you make sure you take care of the new voter. That's how I look at it. Let's see, a statewide human trafficking crackdown this month netted more than 500 arrests and rescued dozens of people, including juveniles. You know how you go into a Walmart and you see that wall of missing kids? It's just crazy. And then you hear Disney reports of more people being arrested on Disney property. How is that? I mean, where are they keeping kids in the tunnels below? I mean, what's going on there? Now, the Jack Smith election interference case against Trump has been removed from the court calendar and postponed indefinitely. The trial was supposed to be next month, but it looks like the case isn't going to trial this year or ever. A big win for Trump. But I don't know if you've heard about it in Georgia. There's been another court appearance where a guy came in, and within just a minute or two, he was able to show the hacking process of the voting machines. Now, I didn't see the video because they wouldn't allow videos in the courtroom. They only gave you the details. So I'd like to see more come out about that, but I haven't seen it yet. Now, these are just reports. I am not stating that these are fact, but when it's reported by mainstream media, you got to possibly stay away from it. But this is one of the cases where I say, if it's coming from a few real media locations that I, entertain, I'll give you one. It's Gateway Pundit. That one I believe more than I don't believe. And now the Supreme Court will hear arguments over whether former President Donald Trump can be removed from the 2024 ballot, a case which will have justices examine an obscure Civil War era provision of the Constitution. Thought that was interesting, so that's what I figured I'd share that. Also, the French farmers are now removing their blockade after the government has given in to their demands. The French farmers have won. If you've been following that was I was really worried that there was going to be some military action to forcefully remove them, and that's awesome that they've been able to get as far as they did. I believe truckers now are many truckers are heading to the southern border to help Texas, and also the National Guard. Many states are also sending National Guard troops to the Texas southern border to help out as well. I think this might become something that the Biden administration doesn't want. They're getting very good publicity, but it's not the publicity they want.
Right. I agree. Uh, there is a flip side to that story. I don't know if anyone's aware of it. That by all that movement from people from different states going down to that states, going down to Texas to help, that some bad actors might go down there like a January 6th thing to try to push some type of civil war. That's something we
Yeah,
have to be aware of because they're
and
just waiting for another January 6th type of thing.
that's not good.
So you could have good people going down to help or reinforce or
And then they
whatever.
get arrested.
And right, and you just stick some people in there that are bad actors and, start some kind of conflict somewhere. And next thing you know, you're in a civil war. It's got to start somewhere, and hopefully it doesn't start down there. It's just something to be aware of.
Yeah, definitely. I know a lot of people are saying please stay away from any kind of confrontation. Let the uh,
Right,
government of those states take care of themselves, unless um, they make it make a National Guard federal instead of state.
right.
Right now, there's every state has their own National Guard. So I don't know how that's working out yet. I haven't heard anything further, but
Well, with everything going on in the country, I mean, we are so far. If you really think about it, anyone that's thinking about a civil war is is nuts. Okay, because there's so many things. We're not even to that level that you have to consider anything like that. And that's the last thing you want. That's the last thing you want. I mean, I'm not too far from Gettysburg. I don't know how many people visit Gettysburg. I'm only miles away from Valley Forge. So when you think about that's Revolutionary War and up to the Civil War, but I mean, just in Gettysburg alone, over 50,000 people died just right there in a small town. You don't want nothing like that happening now. We're not. This country's not even as many bad things that are happening. We're not even to that degree yet. We're not even shouldn't even be considering that. Things will work its way out. I believe that.
I know there's a lot of groups talking about uh, civil war, um, and it's mainly because they believe that the only way out is by taking the government or taking the country back by force,
Right.
and they believe that the military will come with them. They will be on their side.
Right. Well, I don't know if you receive all kind of news in my area. I'm from the Philadelphia area, and just the other day on the news was a son shot his father. His father was a government employee. Uh, took his head off, cut his head off, put it in a bag, went on YouTube with it.
Wow.
He got in his father's car, drove up to a military base about an hour away from his home, and broke into a reserve unit and was going to try to convince them to march against the government. Now, see, that could be a bad actor, like I'm talking with, in
Correct.
all right,
Definitely
and
anything's possible nowadays.
now this guy, whoever this guy was, you go on the news and look it up. Was he brainwashed? Was he? Did this really happen? Obviously, they say it really happened, but I mean, what's he thinking? His father, he goes kills his father, and then goes on YouTube with it, and then takes his father's gun and car and goes to an army reserve place, breaks into that, and thinks he's going to convince the soldiers there or the reserve to join him against the government. I mean, where's this guy's mindset? Now, if you have people like that in Texas, while all these truckers and stuff coming in, what could happen if you have multiple people? I mean, by rights, we're allowed to have militias. It's that's not against the law to have a militia. You should have a militia, but
Should be a way to keep our government controlled, but the average person doesn't know law.
right, that's
And
it.
if you knew law, you would know that our Congress is not following our Constitution.
Right. You can have a militia, but you just don't act out on things. You don't take, you know,
Yeah,
this country's not to that point yet. You have no right to,
protest
you know,
peacefully.
yeah, you have no right to do violence. You know what I mean? It's the peaceful part of it. That's, like I said, now they're going down, them people are going down to Texas, and that's fine. It's great. I'm glad they're assisting. Just let's hope there's no bad actors going down.
Yeah, I think they're just going down to show their support.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
So
How many
Cindy,
states? How many states is it now? I'm sorry. How many states? 25 so far or more?
oh,
have
yeah, I
joined?
think it's at least 25. I'm thinking it was a little more than 25. The last I heard.
Okay.
I don't have that detail right now.
All right.
So Cindy S. She says, you know what is interesting to me is why Trump was discussing issues with the Teamsters Union. Tells me he is the sitting president. Well, I never considered Biden the sitting president, not just because I believe there was something there in the 2020, issue that we were talking about earlier. Not only that, the songs that are played when you're inaugurated was played for Trump, and it was not played for Joe Biden. I don't understand how nobody picked up on that. If you were watching it that day, or even reruns of that, up until a certain point, then they started changing things up because people are like, "Hey, look at this, and then as they're being pointed out, like the soldiers back against the convoy of the new administration driving by, going to Arlington Cemetery, the guns being fired at Arlington Cemetery. There's only 12 shots, or 13 shots, I believe, not 21 for an inauguration. Trump leaving on Air Force One, going into the airport with Marine One. A lot of things that happen do not happen. You can't just jump on an airplane that is Air Force One, and when you're leaving office, you no longer have that opportunity unless you're with the United States president.
That's all very interesting, isn't it? That whole story.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
It's very interesting. Very interesting.
They played the song "Honors March" for Joe Biden,
Mm-hmm.
not I forgot what the name of that song was for when you get inaugurated.
Right. Hail to the chief.
Hail to the chief. That's it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. That's very interesting stuff. All that. It's we have that procedure for every president, and why was it so different this time around?
Correct.
Or that time around, I should say. Yeah.
And if you look at the Bible that Joe Biden put his hand on to swear in, had an upside down cross.
Yeah, that was interesting.
And why did Kamala put her bag over the Bible?
Yeah.
When she was sworn in.
Something ain't right.
No, definitely not. Cindy also states, but in all reality, if Biden was the real president, he would have negotiated for the Teamsters Union. It's kind of messed up with all these layoffs going on, and they're keeping it quiet. I know I've heard of the UPS one very easily, but there's many different layoffs happening and closings of banks that you're not hearing about because they don't want you to worry. They don't want you to go run to the bank and pull all your money out because that's what happened in 1929. The bankers took their money out of different banks. The banks do different things. They deal with the stock market and they try to make money off of that. They loan their money to different people that need it for a home or car, personal loan, credit cards, whatever. But now you see, what was it? The very first bank that went down last year. The bank that bought into that bank, they lost millions of dollars in the fourth quarter. They're laying off. But if it wasn't for the Teamsters, the Teamsters pick and choose who they decide to help out. And I thought how aggressive they were with the UPS employees. And I'm like, man, they're going into crazy territory when it comes to the amount of money that they got for those employees. And now 12,000, this is just the beginning, but 12,000 UPS employees lost their jobs. Is it temporary? I don't know. I know it's every time I turn around, I run into another UPS driver. But on the roads, are they just not needing the people? Maybe they don't have enough packages. But when I see them the same as I've always had, it gets you thinking, what's going on? Is it the cost? What cost them to get this new contract? Then it's the cost of doing business. You have to try to manage with the less amount of people to get the same amount of work done, because now they can't afford it.
Yep. Now they probably trust Trump anyhow because he's more business minded too.
Yeah, true.
On the that they're thinking, well, if he gets back in, we better talk to Trump because he's the man as far as business.
I agree. I raise my hand.
Yeah,
I agree.
I'm in there.
Back in 2016, man, I tell you, I didn't have a lot of friends when it comes to talk, someone to talk to. 2020, that totally changed. Right now, most everybody I know would rather have Trump versus the FJB.
There's still people that won't admit it, though.
Yeah, and then, I don't know how many people they won't even talk about the Biden administration, even though they supported him. I don't think they support him anymore.
Right.
Orange man bad. We got to get rid of him. Why is he bad? Well, just because he is.
Right.
He's racist. Okay, what did he do that's racist?
It's
Well,
crazy.
Yeah,
tell me what he did. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. So everyone get their boosters? I'm just teasing. I hope you didn't get your booster.
No, I won't do another vaccine ever. My doctor's like, hey, you need a shingles vaccine. No, hell no. Are you kidding? If you hear the disclaimer on the advertisements, I mean, come on.
It's horrible. Always ends with or death.
Yeah. And guess what? There was no disclaimer on the one that what everybody, not everybody, many people have taken, many of our friends. There was no disclaimer. Hey, can you tell me if there's any drug interactions with this one? Oh, there's nothing. It's safe and effective. And now you hear a totally different story.
Oh, well. We're treading on.
Yep. It just gets me angry.
Censorship here. So, treading on some places we shouldn't be going right now, but everyone knows what we're saying.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, crazy world we live in, huh?
Oh, I agree with that as well.
I try to be positive. I know a lot of people like to, dwell on the doom and gloom of things, but I really have to believe that we're going to get through this, and on the other side, it's going to be a good life. I have to think that way. I can't think,
Yeah, it's going to drive you nuts if you think the other way.
and once you do a lot of research and open up your eyes a little bit and open up your mind and your heart, and you see too much of it and you start thinking and you're saying to yourself, well, I know sometimes when you do too much research, you get it gets a little bit confusion, and you're not understanding what to believe. There's so much information out there now, but you got to
And
stay positive. You really have to think positive.
every time you turn around, it's like, is this being told? And I start to believe it. Is that even true?
Right. That's true.
Where do I go? I mean, we've been lied to so much about so much. It's like, how do you believe that this is even true? Even though it sounds like something that maybe goes against or goes with what your thinking is, doesn't mean it's true either.
Right. I'm sure everyone lost a lot of friends during this period. I know I have.
Yeah, definitely. Good friend, the friends that were good friends to you, or maybe just friends now,
Yeah. So
All right, John, you
we'll
want
see.
to have anything to say before we close out here?
Well, I have a. I hope it runs for you. I want to share a little video here. It's a short one. It's under 30 seconds.
Awesome.
Kind of has to do with where we left off last Saturday. But I was just wondering if anyone, we all need to laugh every once in a while. So hopefully you'll find it funny. I was just wondering, if if you ever wanted to visit the other hemisphere to see if the toilet water spins the other way, or what's happening down in Australia or Brazil. Well, I want to share a little video for you. See if I can do this. Uh-oh, how come it's different now? What's share screen? Hold on. There we go. It's very short. Is it up?
It's coming up.
Okay.
Can you add it to the screen, or you want me to add it?
I add it already?
No.
Yeah, it says all it says is I could stop sharing it. Why isn't it?
There it goes.
Nothing, huh?
No.
Of course not. Of course not. Why won't it play? Hold on. Should play. Of course it won't play.
Buffering, is it possible an issue with your internet connection?
Now I got 10 out of 10 on this side. Let me close a couple tabs here, see if that helps. Should be working. Wow. Hold on. Let me try doing it again. If not, unbelievable. I checked this like 10 times this morning to make sure it would play, and it played every single time.
Isn't that the way it works?
Oh, of course. I mean, you know what I mean? Says I'm sharing it, but it just won't play. I have no idea why it won't work. And it won't even work on my end. Oh, well, there goes my funny moment for you. An error occurred. Please try again later. Yeah, right.
He knows what you're trying to do.
I know what's going on there. That's all right. Make an idiot out of me. That's all right. I've been there before.
Maybe next
Sorry,
time,
folks. Maybe next show.
You want to stay around for just a couple of seconds?
Sure will.
End the show.
Sure will.
All right, guys. I just wanted to say I appreciate everybody stopping in today and making comments. And if you can, stop back for future shows every Saturday, unless something happens. 2 p.m. Eastern time. Have a great rest of your day. God bless America.
Thanks, Big D.